back to World Crisis Radio. Webster Tarpley here in Washington, D.C. So the center of attention is Davos to see what these various finance oligarchs and related characters are saying. And we've had Merkel offering nothing new. We have Cameron offering even worse, more Tory ideological slogans. The subject this year is the topic capitalism and its future. The general mood is reported to be highly pessimistic, much more pessimistic than last year, probably about as pessimistic as the year before that. But now let's also factor in the IMF says there's going to be a recession, meaning a depression, and we've got the World Bank acting according to the same general orientation. And in terms of the Greek haircut, Lagarde, Madame Lagarde, as we call her here, Christine Lagarde of the International Monetary Fund, she says that when it comes to this haircut, you have the tug of war between the public debtors and the private debtors. They're all bondholders of Greece. So far, it's supposed to be the private ones who take it on the chin. It's a much smaller amount of debt. But when it gets to the public ones, this means the European Central Bank, the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, the EBRD, and so forth. They don't want to have this haircut applied to them. But now, Lagarde says the bigger the private effort, in other words, the more haircut the private bondholders take, the less the public bondholders will have to give up. But, of course, since the hedge fund hyenas are not cooperating, she says, if the level demanded of private investors is not reached, then public creditors will have to step in too. Wait a minute. This is hedge fund hyenas get to decide who's going to pay what, and they can force governments to pay? This is ridiculous. It's time to send a few tanks around to their offices. So that's essentially the European financial situation, and it's not good. Now, in the middle of this, let us never forget the role of the credit ratings agencies. The credit ratings agencies, they attacked. They've been attacking now for a couple of years. They failed to predict the collapse of Enron. They were certifying Enron right down to the last moment. They failed in regard to the world derivatives panic of 2008, even though this had been preceded by Countrywide Bank going bankrupt, by Northern Rock going bankrupt, by Bear Stearns in March of 2008, waited all the way to September 2008 in many cases to write down some of these things like Lehman Brothers and so forth. It is a politically guided attack machine. That's what it is. It's not a form of technical judgment, and indeed the people they have there are incompetent to make such judgments. It's private, it's for-profit, it's deregulated, unaccountable, secretive, not transparent. It's all this stuff. So it's a political attack on Europe, and of course they attacked the United States in August, then attacking the French and the Austrians, the Italians, Spanish, Portuguese, Slovenians, Slovakians, Maltese, and so forth. And there are other similar attacks, certainly in the pipeline. Now, you look in La Stampa of Turin. This is the newspaper of Fiat. La Stampa, a couple of days ago, I'll get you the exact date here, I guess, has a very, very interesting article about Michele Ruggiero. He is the state prosecutor of the city of Trani in southern Italy, way down south. So this is La Stampa of the 21st of January, 2012. article by Guido Ruotolo. He's the correspondent sent to Trani in southeast Italy, in Puglia. And it's just an interesting thing that Michele Ruggiero has done. This is called Rogatoria Internazionale. It's an international request for assistance, information, and indeed for expert witnesses, I guess is one way to put it. So we're told now in this article that appeared on the 21st of January, a little bit less than a week ago, that back in October, Michele Ruggiero of Trani, who has been investigating Moody's and Standard & Poor's for market manipulation and insider trading, right? Abuse of privileged information. He had sent a request to the U.S. Department of Justice to request judicial cooperation, and his request had been blocked. Now, here's what the request was. Michele Ruggiero, state prosecutor of Trani, wanted to hear testimony from alcuni testimoni eccellenti, from some excellent witnesses. It's a kind of a cliche of Italian crime novels. Testimoni eccellenti. So who are the testimoni eccellenti? The president of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Mary Shapiro. We have the former analyst working at Moody's, William J. Harrington. We have the economics professor and Nobel Prize winner, Paul Krugman. We have the Italian journalist, Federico Rampini. And we have the politologist and author of books on ratings agencies, is what the article says, Webster G. Tarpley. So yours truly, your humble servant, Webster Tarpley, is included on this distinguished list of people that Michele Ruggiero of Trani wants to hear as expert witnesses on the question of Standard & Poor's and Moody's. So again, Mary Shapiro of the Securities and Exchange Commission, former Moody's analyst William J. Harrington, Webster G. Tarpley. I have never written a book on the ratings agencies per se, I must say, but I am politologist, I guess that's accurate, and author of books, but just not on ratings agencies. Federico Rampini, I'm not sure who this is, and Paul Krugman, the Nobel Prize winner. Now, the U.S. answer to this was no, we will not cooperate. And the justification is sort of this. You Italians are trying to put opinions on trial. So the idea is that it sounds like what Standard & Poor's and Moody's are doing is simply free speech. You have a right to have your opinion about the fiscal state of France or Italy or the United States or whatever it is, or some bank. Problem is that is not exactly what it is, because these opinions that they give have, in certain cases, the force of law, or at least the force of regulation, because you have any number of pension funds and other entities that say, as part of their bylaws, and in some cases this is the result of state laws and maybe even federal laws, although I'm not sure of that say you can only buy AAA rated or things that are rated above a certain letter level, right? You can't, if some of them say, if Moody's and Standard & Poor's called it junk, you're not allowed to buy it for the pension fund. So it's a constraint on the fund manager. So, some more on this in just a minute. Michele Ruggiero, state prosecutor of Trani. Back in a minute.